来，各问题无？係。
I have one practical question to ask you. Do you allow those who are unbaptized but regularly attend church service to have share with the both supper Eucharist?
伊的意思就是讲，是毋是会当准遐讲，干那无受洗礼啊，不是来去做礼拜人，迄个领受圣餐，啊，伫这个教会这是袂使。
No and yes. No, if they are regularly attending, I sit down with them to say that we understand the Eucharist to be first for those who are baptized in the triune God. And so to come to the table, you first come here, but to come here, you need to know about Jesus Christ and belong to the community. Now, for first-time guests who come to the congregation and then they come to the table, that's a different matter, right? There's a pastoral concern there. You can't exactly say in the middle of the service, no, you can't. And so when they partake at the table, that gives them an opportunity for a conversation later on to say, oh, I noticed that you came to the table. Were you baptized? Let's talk about your baptism.
意思是讲吼，会使啦吼，因为吼，要来领这圣餐以前，伊要有这洗礼，要有这个门才能行到这个门。啊，所以伫咱的礼仪上，这是袂使。不过有一寡教会时阵，有时咱在守圣餐的时阵吼，人行来啊，就去坐一只吼，就去领圣餐，安尼。但是你若看到迄款情形的时阵，你得用这个做一个机会，甲你注意讲吼，你来领圣餐，你毋知有洗礼啊无？吼，伫遐做一个迄个动作的这个机会。
And I've also had to turn away 5 or 6 families who have called me on the phone from the community who asked me to baptize their babies. And I asked them, well, do you have an intent to join this community? Or is it you want me to just splash your baby and then we won't see you again? And that's the case. And all 6 of those families, that they had no intent to be part of the community. And I explained to them, you know, baptism is a public act of the church. That we are making a commitment to you as you're making a commitment to us. And if I'm just going to splash water on your baby, that defeats why baptism has been given as a gift of God to the people of God.
有时啊有无落个家庭，我讲甲因的囡仔迄个领洗礼，安尼，我讲我无要安尼创。伊的洗礼吼是一个共同一款迄个礼拜中间一个共同一款见证，吼，你在伫大家面前讲你要做接受要做上帝做你的救主，啊要接受家己，再要做是上帝的囝子安尼。啊，你若干那讲来遮啊，我甲你秀咧，啊，你就做你搬走嘛，啊，因为都无看到你，迄款洗礼无啥意义吼，啊咧啊嘛是无合咱的圣经，咱的神学。啊来，对。
那回答我怎么说？
迄个问题就咱第一站讲。对。伊已经甲咱讲真清楚啊，所以哈 ，OK， 是的，呀。She wants to know a bit more about your loneliness. Apparently, she has a compassion. I think we all do, but maybe that's some other meaning. 因为这个，如果我怀疑吼，是感觉真过头尴尬啦，好无？吼，伊咧讲是已经真对咱真信任了，才甲讲到遮安尼吼。
Let me give you as one example. One example.
我来讲一个例子。
Just one example. In our presbytery, or in any presbyteries, we ministers have to be careful as to who we trust and how much we say things. Why? The committee on ministry is always there. You know, if we were to share our deep pains about our congregation, will we be the gossip of the presbytery? So to find the trusting and trustworthy fellow ministers who we can share about what's happening in our churches or our families without it then becoming gossip for the committee on ministry later on. That's very hard. It takes a discerning eye, saying, okay, who are the pastors in the presbytery, or even outside the presbytery? Can we find those? So that's you know, but one example of, I know it's suspicion. being safe and risk-taking. But sometimes taking that risk is just too much, because if a committee on ministry was to learn about this or that, it's not worth it. And so the easy thing is to just retreat and say, I'm not going to take the risk and time to deal with people, to deal with fellow ministers in my presbytery.
比如讲，若伫迄个中会内面，伫内面在做工的时阵，有时你会听到一寡迄个人工什么款的问题，所以你的决定就是讲，你是不是要将这个问题，甲其他的传教者大家来分享？安尼变做讲，你一直在传播谣言，安尼你来谣言，甲别人传了去，一定会受伤。所以为着讲，你要透你家己的心的迄个。 孤单你伫咧吐气，影响到别人，安尼迄款的冒险，较无价值。所以为着要保护咱家己，保护遐人工，所以实在就讲，安尼我听就好啊。你在讲对我讲了后，我到这就煞去，我袂使再讲一遍。有迄款的孤单感，伫遐我感觉讲，因为安尼，所以你甲别人的迄个距离比较加长，安尼感觉。
One second one that I wanted to share is a very painful one, and that was the first 2 years at my congregation, where there were a number of families who left, who wanted to not be Presbyterian anymore, who wanted to be non-denominational and join a larger church, who wanted a larger youth group. On paper, it says, oh, there's 10 people who left, 15 people who left. And they equate that with, oh, 10, 15 people left because Pastor Neal's here. Now, how do I share that to the rest of the congregation who doesn't know that? How do I share to the congregation that those members who left actually met with me to say, it's not about you, and you actually preach the gospel. So it's not about you're not preaching the gospel, it's just that we want a larger youth group for our teenager. To the rest of the congregation, it's they don't like Pastor Neal and the way that he preaches because he's too, this or that. That's very lonely.
搁一个就是讲吼，我头2年期在牧会时阵吼，有迄个10个家庭离开，离开是因为因讲要去找一个较大间的教会，迄个社青、语部的较活动安尼，所以教会算讲吼，我某人来遮牧会了后，2年来就有10个家庭离开吼，安尼，当时吼，我袂使甲伊讲吼，因离开毋是我，因为因要离开以前。The same water, but different. That's right. That's right. 所以因为当时我袂使甲回忆讲吼，因离开毋是因为我，因为我有甲伊讲着话，因离开是完全因为讲伊要去较大间教会，因为因嘛是爱我的讲道，当时吼会连按教会收势安尼。所以这你要安怎甲这回忆讲？哦，所以嘛是有一款的迄个安尼玩乐一款的孤独感，迄个孤单感啊。I never experienced that. No, it's a lie. 我是真好机会啦，我是伊是比我想象中搁较公开吼，较信任安尼吼。我歹势讲话，伊人伊安尼讲，你反正遐尼多，所以。Yeah, I said you are more trusting than me. I say too much, but you say no. Thank you. 我要summarizing. What time is your flight? 12. Okay, 还有时间。你12點啦，吼。夠啊，吼。咱時間夠。Okay. Yeah. But your flight is 12, but our time is up.